Sharpen your pencils, beekeepers, because this one's going to be an interesting one. Okay, we're at Hope Mission here in Dover, Delaware, and just doing a quick inspection on a bee colony. We're gonna have to come back, but I think you can see them up there. They're up in the corner of that building. We're gonna have to get up there and take a look and see what we can find. Okay, we are back here at the site where we're going to remove the bees out of the ceiling, and we've removed the ceiling tile so we can get a good idea of what it looks like, the joists in which way they're running, as well as to get a heat signal. And you can see in this heat signal, their colony looks to be about around this area right here. So we're kind of set up to put our protective equipment down, and then we're going to go ahead and start to pull some of that insulation back and see what we can see. Let's get to work. All right, we found our nest. Looks like it's all the way up in the eave. Comes back around here and goes up to the ceiling. So we're gonna start to vacuum up some of these bees, see what kind of comb structure we have. Well, as you guys know, everything in beekeeping never works out exactly how you want it to go. We got about halfway through our job of vacuuming up bees, and dummy me did not fully charge my Everything BeeVac, which is a very good BeeVac, but you got to get a good charge on it for a good, 4, 5, 6 hour job. This nest is definitely much bigger than I expected, so we're using a lot more vacuuming, use of that vacuum. So long story short, or short story long as I like to say, we're on our way to Home Depot. Why? Because the charge is not strong enough to keep going. I have the old model of the Everything BeeVac, which means that the charge plug that comes with it, the charger, cannot power the BeeVac, unfortunately. So it has to charge. So we're going to forego the BeeVac as it stands. We're going to go get a shop vac, and we're going to take and plug in a shop vac to the top of the Everything BeeVac to pull those bees into the Everything BeeVac. It's kind of a backwards way of doing it, but that's the story. That's what's going on. Quick shout out to Dirt Rooster, Randy McCaffrey. Naturally, I gave him a quick ring for some suggestions since he uses these BeeVacs all the time. I use them maybe half a dozen to a dozen times a year, not that often. He does that in a week or a month. So again, appreciate that, help there, Randy, for giving me a tip on looking for a vacuum cleaner and or shop vac to go through the exhaust port of the Everything BeeVac, and that will still give me what I need to have done. So we're on our way to Home Depot. That's how things go. A 4-hour job is turning into an 8-hour job, but that's keeping bees. Stay tuned, everyone. We got more. Okay, we are back, and the contraption you see here is a shop vac plugged into the top of the Everything BeeVac. It's working. Not exactly the way I want it, but it's working. So now we're gonna get up here and try to pull some of this comb out that we just got cleaned off. As you can see right there. We're gonna see if we can get that. We got some more bees in there, get to the rest of them, start to vacuum it up, keep moving along. It's a long process. It's worth it in the end, saving the bees. Here we go.
2 hours later.
Well, we are done. Cleanup is the only thing left. Get these bees back to the apiary, get them installed in the colony to help recreate. I got some brood back here. I've got 2 bucketfuls of bees. Some bees are already back there. I went back there once. The cavity is clean, as you can see, and I sprayed it with a Kilt's primer. I do that just to get the pheromone scent deadened in there so they don't try to return. Now, I've told the client that they need to get spray foam or insulation and pack it tight in there because they need to seal off the hole where they're coming in and they need to fill it up. So there'll be a few residual bees that will remain. They'll eventually just die. And we'll probably in a few days, their foragers likely anyway coming back. But this was a pretty intense job. Twice the size of what I thought it was. A little messy than I wanted it to be, but we got it done. So let's get back to get this all cleaned up, get back to the apiary, and then we'll piece it all back together. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back in the apiary, and what do we got going on back here? Well, I can tell you, the bees are settled in their new home. We'll show you that in just a minute. But all this back here is all the sticky mess that comes with a cutout. If you're a new beekeeper or a young beekeeper that's considering doing cutouts, I will caution you in the sense that it is not an easy job. It is not a clean job. You will get messy. Some are easier than others, and some are just downright next to impossible. But the bees do clean up their mess, or really our mess. Yeah. So we've got all the old comb. We've got all our tools on the ground back here. They're covered in sticky mess. And over the next day or two in this nice sunny weather here on the eastern shore of Maryland, bees will clean up every drop of stickiness on every piece, every glove, every jacket, every vacuum tube. So we're gonna let them get to work on this, clean this up, and we're gonna go show you the hive. Let's go take a look. Okay, so we are out in our apiary with the box from the cutout. These are where we put the bees the other day when we cut them out of the church. And we're gonna take a look and see what they're doing, see how they're making out, see if we got a queen. Let's take a look. Okay, so first observation I will say is we've got some dead bees from when we dumped the vacuum cleaner. But one thing I'll notice, or I'll point out, is the entrance. There's the either dead larva or larva they're dragging out. So they're doing a lot of good cleanup to get the hive back in order. And we're gonna go inside the hive and see what that looks like. But that's a good sign when you got enough bees to be able to take on that job of mortuary and cleanup. That's one thing that we'll do a lot of here in the next few days. So let's take a look inside the hive. Okay, so you can see we've got our 5 frames in the middle here for the framed up comb, and the bees are really working hard to get that shirred up. Let's take a look and see what we see on these combs, see if maybe we can spot a queen. Gotta be very careful though as we pull them out, because the comb has not been shirred up and it's only being held by those rubber bands. So we'll be very careful on how we pull those out. Okay, so you can see this is a piece of comb, brood comb that we got from the colony in the church. And what they're doing here is something called festooning. That's a method in which they're measuring how much space they're gonna need to shore up that comb. So they're actually linking their legs together, and they're measuring actually to see how much comb they need to build to shore that up. So that's just a practice that bees do to measure distance and space. I'm scanning the comb. It looks like they've attached a little bit over here. Let's take a look and see if we can spot our queen. Okay, so one thing I can see, I have not spotted the queen yet. We've been through about 3 frames, 3 or 4 frames. And if you look down here, those are the beginnings of queen cells. So, and that tells me that they're queenless because they found a 2-day-old egg, or really, sorry, 3-day-old egg, 3-day-old egg, 4-day-old egg and started to develop out that cell to replace the queen. So it's a sad thing that we didn't get a queen. That's okay. They'll continue her genetics along from these cells, and then they'll be mated in our apiary with our drones, which is kind of nice. So let's put her back and see what we can find. Well, that's sort of a wrap. There's a lot more work to be done in this colony. They need to reestablish themselves. We've got a good amount of brood in there to do that. Lots of bees. No queen, or at least the queen that we didn't spot. We'll give it another couple more days to see what happens if those queen cells continue to develop and they don't tear them down. Likely they did lose their queen in the process, and unfortunately with removals, that's kind of how it goes. We do our best to try to save the entire colony, and specifically the queen, but in a lot of cases, in cutouts like that are very difficult to get into, very tough to remove, it's not a good chance that they're going to make it. But the good news is the bees are resilient. Just like they had found that home in that church, there is hope. There is hope that this colony will be strong again here in a couple weeks at Bohemia Apiary in its new home, where beekeeping for us is, well, it's more than a hobby. We're giving the bees some hope. Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate it. If you like the video, if you like the content we do, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We love to have a wider audience that we can spread this information. The program at Dover HOPE Commission is a fantastic program. And what we do here at Bohemia Apiary in the Eastern Shore, Maryland, is to help the bees reestablish themselves when they lose their home. So stay tuned for another episode here at Bohemia Apiary. Thanks for watching, everyone.